Hey, good morning everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss Pre-Market Report for Tuesday, March 20th, 2018. I'm Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. Right now you see that price did indeed drop back to the midpoint of the key range. Again, this is what we were talking about before, where we had this upper edge up here. We were rejecting that high. And that was indicative that we would likely come back at least to the midpoint, which is 2703, followed by the potential to see the opposite edge of the range as well, which is that recent low there at around 2649. So overall, we could be looking at a continuation toward this edge, and this inner 25% level where the LVN is, that could be the best bounce opportunity back toward 2703. But again, right now, price can continue to stay above this edge. So overall, we're right at the middle. There's no real edge in this area right now. Again, if price were to come out here and test this lower edge and get into the LVN, that could provide a pretty solid reaction back toward 2703, perhaps about a 100-point move with the potential to see a continuation toward 28. So there would be about a 200-point potential there. Right now, at the center of this range, not a whole lot of meat on the bone at the moment, so we got to be patient until the next opportunity presents itself. But as of right now, in the very short term, what you'll see right here is that price broke below recent support lows right in here, and any pullback into that zone is typically a selling opportunity for a continuation downward. So at this time, any pullback into this 2745s could be sold for a continuation to 2669 in the very near term. But again, remember, on Wednesday we're going to have the FOMC statement and the Fed interest rate decision. That's going to be very, very important. So we could build a range ahead of that event. Once that event comes, we're going to get another FOMC data point, which is very important. You can see the 1213 key level right there. Very important pivot as both a target and to initiate trades as well. So we'll keep an eye on that heading into Wednesday's market. Now let's take a look here at the NQ. Here's the NQ. Basically, the NQ has been in the upper distribution of its range. Now tech kind of led the pullback here, and we talked about this Friday morning pre-market in the pre-market report. If price cannot hold 7K, we likely start to work our way back towards 66.53, and that's the midpoint of the key range here. It's also the recent support pivot low, and so we did break down below 7K there. Got a big time breakdown, pushed down as low as 68.20s, and for the most part, we're bouncing at the moment on an inside day. And so again, if this is going to remain bearish, bears are going to continue to defend 7K. So if this thing bounces to 7K or even as high as 70.47, it could still be an opportunity for bears to defend and look to push this thing back towards 66.53. So on a swing basis right now, if price bounces, which it could very well bounce here, reactionary bounce, watch to see how price behaves around 7K, because if any rejection occurs in that zone, that could be a selling opportunity for 66.53. Alright, let's take a look here at gold. Now gold we talked about before as having a kind of a rounded top behavior here to it. Very clear 1305 support level, been defended on multiple rotations, but on each of the recent rotations we've seen those bulls get paid less and less and less, not getting paid at all now. And as a matter of fact, if you kind of scroll in a little bit here, you'll actually see that price is now below the previous session's midpoint, and that's not good, especially when the previous session was kind of a tail or rejection type day. Not a full-on rejection day, but it was a nice little defense down there of the previous month's low. Very similar to how it played out here recently earlier in the month right here. It came down again, tried that move again, but now price back below the midpoint, also rejecting off the previous month's close. This could be telling us that we're closer to expansion than not, right? We've done this entire thing that we've built out over the last 2+ almost 3 months, we're likely very due for a significant expansion here pretty soon. 1305 is going to be the level, and if price continues to push down below 1310, this could be a day where it starts to pick up some steam. Again, it needs to really break below 1305, 1300, and if that occurs, we could be looking at a significant drop to 1280 and then down to 1240 before this thing even thinks about bouncing. So it could be a significant move once we're ready to go. So keep an eye on gold. All right, taking a look here at crude oil. This is crude. This thing's been coiling up big time here. What we talked about the previous session was how price had pushed through recent highs, and any pullback into about 62 could be a defense opportunity for a bounce higher towards 64. And yesterday we got the bounce into 62. It bounced higher, then it broke down through 62 but held the previous month's close there, and from there it was a bounce, and now we're at 63. So overall this thing continues to push up. 62.50 is now in plain sight as this thing continues to push higher. Any pullback into that 62.50 could be a continuation toward 64s here in the short-term basis. So it looks like we're flowing higher towards 63.75 to 64.24 in crude oil. Failure to hold above 62.50 would break that. All right, let's take a look here at XBT. So Bitcoin is doing something very significant right now. It's coiling up in a very tight range. We can quantify that down here with the PivotBoss Advanced ADR indicator. I got it set to a 4-day range, so it's looking at the 4-day range right here, and then it's quantifying it as a very narrow 4-day range, which is why we have the magenta up there. And anytime that occurs, that's an indication that price is compressing ahead of future expansion. So if you look back here at the recent examples since the SIBO contract has been live, you have this right here where it's been tightly coiled and it led to that expansion. We had that's been tightly coiled, it led to expansion. This led to some expansion. This one led to some expansion, and now here we are down here. So again, this could be very, very nice for future volatility. We could see a very nice dose of volatility into the market plus some expansion. Doesn't all have to be in the same direction, but it's nice when it happens that way. So we'll keep an eye on this one. At the moment, I mentioned before, 9K is the most important level right there. So if we are going to see expansion above 9K, would shoot us back toward 11.3 to 11.7. That would be a target to shoot for. And in terms of the actual quantified value, that would be about 2,650 point move, 2,650 bucks. So that's what we're looking for out of Bitcoin. If we do see that break, it could be a big move here upon us once that does occur. So keep an eye on 9K. Again, if price does push above 9K and rejects those prices, that could mean a spill to reach that recent low at 5,800. So that could be significant. So again, coiling up in Bitcoin here, compression leads to expansion. We could be looking at expansion very soon. All right, that's it for now. Let's see how this plays out heading into the rest of the market. Good luck and trade well.